Hey, welcome back once again. It is time for the Comics Coffee Table. Pull up a chair. Join us. What are we? We are simply a geeky chill stream. That's it. We congregate daily, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern Daily is when the show releases. Upon that release is a mighty live chat that's hopping with awesome people, having a great conversation about comic books. And if you're new to the channel, you may be, because we just broke 1,000. Yes, we are sitting above 1,000 subscribers. Thank you all. Thank you, everyone. And so if you're new to the channel, hey, hit that subscribe button. Please smash that like button and be part of this. Yeah, and if you're watching in the replay, you can continue this comic book shop style conversation in the comment section. People do every day. It's great. I try to at least, give a heart and a like to everyone's comment. If I can't answer it directly, I at least, acknowledge with receipt of thank you very much. And keep smashing that like button. Heck, smash the downvote button if you didn't like today's content. I'm a big lad. I can handle it. Pika trained me to be a tough, fighter. Except for a Geodude. And Krabbies scare me. So do coughings. I had asthma as a kid. Coughing. That's a Pokemon reference for all y'all out in the know. This is obviously not the lid for this box. Pika, what are you doing to me? We're in the middle of the show. We're doing the show. I'm reading your show notes. Pika is my executive producer. Pre-recorded live before a studio audience of my stuffed animals. That's my studio audience. Jay, the Canadian bear. Stuff solid. And that's Drinka. He's the union microphone boom operator and camera person. Can't say cameraman anymore because, modernity, inclusion, stuff like that. And I'm struggling calling her Per's son, too, because is he really Per's son? I don't know. Is that any of my business? See? But yeah, we have show notes. We're a professional organization here. We take this show seriously. What we're doing this year is that we are rebagging, reboarding, reboxing my entire comic book collection. Along that way, I'm getting my head around a part of this lifelong hobby. I've been on this planet for 5 decades now, and most of that time I've been reading. I have my nose buried in a comic book, seeing what Spider-Man's up to, or the Fantastic Four, most especially Batman and Robin, Teen Titans, Superman. That kind of stuff. So I grew up on Big 2 comic books. I grew up on the spinner rack. Back when 50 cents, 60 cents, 75 cents were the cover prices of my favorite titles. And they were available in magazine form at corner stores, gas stations, 7-Elevens, and the newsstand as well. And so kids back then had something called pocket change. You could have 2 quarters and a dime. Well, that's called pocket change. Any kid had that, and that could be an issue of Uncanny X-Men, when you're 8 years old. And that's a wonderful thing. And so I'm, using this excuse to learn more about my hobby. And this show is for entertainment purposes only. So if you have a legit question about the condition or value of your comic book, please bring it to your local comic book shop. The staff, the owner, they should be able to grade that comic book. Or if not, put you in the right direction to be professionally graded. And one of the many professional grading systems out there available to you, consumer. I'm using these 2 books a lot. The Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide, 52nd edition. I'm getting next year's book. I had it last year. This has now earned a spot in my collection. Yeah, it really has. This is the Overstreet Guide to Grading Comics. I had it signed by the artist. That's not Catwoman. That's a Golden Age character named Ms. Fury. And that's done by Billy Tucci. And Billy Tucci signed that for me. Way to go, teen sensation. Love you, guy. And There are links to both of these publications in the description where you can get your own copies and play along at home. And I think it's just been very educational. It's a good facet of my lifelong hobby that I never paid that much attention to. And I'm also going back to my local comic book shop every week now. Every Wednesday, I celebrate new release day. I love, and tomorrow we review new releases on Sundays. Sunday is new release Sunday. And we're going to go over, I bought 8 comic books, new comic books, and not just big 2 superhero fare. I like to take chances. And I like to help keep my local comic book shop open. Because when those stores are gone, they're gone. Such as the record store or the toy store in the mall. Where did these stores go? What happened? And most of these local comic book shops, if they're not part of a chain, they're mom and pop brick and mortar shops, local businesses that need our patronage, especially after lockdown 2020. So I'm here using my advocacy, my agenda, my messaging, my platform. I am literally platforming, using and amplifying my voice or my platform. My evangelism as an ordained minister is to say to thee, get thy ass to thy local comic book shop and spend money there. While I'm reboxing, reboarding, and rebagging my entire collection, I need supplies. Chances are you do too. So I am bypassing my online supply chain. And it's, you can get a good discount on basically anything at a good time if you choose the right day. But I'm volunteering. I'm agreeing to pay the retail markup at my LCS. Why? Because it's going to help keep their lights on, keep them paying their employees, keep them paying their invoices, which is also a good thing. Local comic book shops are a lot like restaurants. I'm a professional chef. And so, local restaurants, mom and pop shops, these are people that have a love for, the business that they're in. A chef or a comic book shop owner. You have a staff. You pay rent. You get product to sell to guests. And you have a communal experience. I love the local comic book shop. I love going there and shooting the breeze with the staff and and people just like last week. There's just the staff lady and this dude were in some kind of conversation, and I'm just getting my stuff wrong in, and I'm like a cat on a laser pointer, looking at the both, oh, that's really interesting, and I asked her about returnability, and she's like, "Oh yeah, but it's a huge pain in the ass because there's this triple authentication thing. You have to sign an affidavit. You have to take a picture. You have to send in the covers, and if they believe you, you will get a credit somewhere down the line months later. But you also have to keep the product on the shelves, past that date. So if it says usually the thing is on where does it say it here? This is like last week's issue. Okay, let's look in the Indicia colophon. To the Indicia colophon. Where is it? Is it in the top? Pico, we gotta get better at producing the show. Here it is. The Indicia colophon. All right. So July of 2023. It should say. It does probably say it somewhere in that UPC code. But comic books used to have that date on the cover because that's when you would take it off the newsstand or spinner rack shelf. You would rip off the cover or even a part of it and send that back to the distributor, which would be credited for the unsold copies. And that's where the so the cover date. So the local comic book shop has to keep this the product that's not moving, and they got to clog their shelves up with it for an extended period to honor the terms of the new returnability. So it's I love these conversations though because they're very enlightening. I mean, where else do you get this kind of information? I ask. I was like, hey, tell me more about the returnability. Are you pleased with it? And it was a very like, yeah, and well, there's a, it's a little sticky too. And that's not an exact quote, it's a paraphrase. But, I'm here for this conversation, and I'm here every week for it. And we're here every day. So smash that like button, take the plunge, be one of us, and subscribe and be part of this daily live chat conversation. So yeah, I'm getting my boxes. I'm getting my short boxes there. I'm getting bags and boards as well. There's no bags and boards in here. Where are the bags and boards, Pika? Pika! My goodness. Okay, here we go. All right, so we got bags. We got very few boards left. We got to get new boards, and I need new boxes as well. So I need to spend money on supplies. And I'm going to spend my money at my local comic book shop. And that is the pulpit. Thank you for the... it's not a lecture. It's more of a suggestion. Do you love your comic book shop? Only we can help keep it open, with our patronage. So yeah, I'm getting bags, boards, and boxes at the LCS. Exactly. We are rebagging, reboarding, and reboxing my entire collection. And so yesterday we ended with the New Avengers Annual. You got bagged and boarded. We fulfilled the obligation of the show. Sometimes you just ramble on and sing my song. Gonna ramble on. Dum, dum, boom, boom. Now the time is now. Sing my song. I gotta find my girl going around the world on my way. I've been this way 10 years to this day. I gotta ramble on. I'm gonna find the queen of all my dreams. Oh, he's gone into Freedom Rock mode. Please, somebody get him something soft to bite on or something. That's not funny, Sully. Aw. But yeah, so we are gonna bag, board, and we are taking some time today to talk about. This is the Sully edit of Marvel Civil War, and it does start off. I start off the Civil War with that New Avengers Annual #1 because it's just the best place to lead into it. It's the last time that, well, and since they made up, I guess, but for a long time, it's going to be the last time you see Tony and Steve being friends. Captain America and Iron Man. Then we get into the wonderful world of Civil War. And you all need new bags, all of you. So yeah, remember, what's Sully's policy when it comes to bags? You take one, and then you fill it up with other bags. Whose side are you on? It was an interesting comic book. It was a comic book that really changed a lot in this comic book landscape of superheroes. It's like superheroes fighting superheroes. Superheroes having ideological differences. Where have we heard that one before? Was it recently? Over the, this one says, the virus of unspecified origins. And the social shutdowns because of it, and the complete polarization and capitulations and the sides that formed. There was like, you had to take a side. I am not a side taker. I'm not a fence sitter, but I'm not a side taker, really. I have a side. I have my side. A me side. I do. My side. I like my side. And like, I have 20 of them. I have 20 or more. Remember, the 20-sided die. I get those, in solidarity with the gamers. That you can, like, I just rolled a 17, whatever that means, or it's an L1. I see. I don't understand your wizard's ways, but the older you get, you become the dungeon master, and you have more than 2 sides. You have more than 6 sides. You have 20 or more, because you're a robust human being. You know, you don't have to be defined by just one side or the other side. You know what I mean? I'm not going to agree to that. I know it exists. I'll respect it. I know that you could be on one side and you could be on the other side. But you know what? There's a lot of places for common ground. One of them is the comic book shop. Another could be a restaurant. Another could be church or whatever kind of services you go to, whatever faith you're in. Maybe the yoga studio. Who knows? I mean, just I'm just riffing, you know. But let's look at the book. To the book, everyone, to the book. And then we're going to take a peek at grading this. I mean, like, what would this be? Okay, we see R. See I. B-A B-E-B B-I Bicky Bye B-O-Bo Bicky Bye Bo B-U-Boo Bicky Bye Bo Boo. Right there it is, Civil War 1. We're going to look that one up. And I hope you're having an awesome day. And I hope that you're clobbering your problems. And not being clobbered, but not being clobbered by them. Okay, well. This would be worth $24 if it was a 9.2. But it is definitely not a 9.2. Why? Because we're going to count the dings. Let's look at these dings. Let's give them some ding to talk about. Ding. What are dings? If you're new to the show, dings are whatever visible imperfection we can see with the comic book itself. And remember, all of the dings add up. And there's a 10-point standardized rating scale. It's an industry standard. And, you know, there are a couple of different interpretations of it. Sure. But basically, Overstreet is like one of the industry standards we can all fall back upon. And there's a 10-point rating system. And the more dings, the lower that score gets down from 10. Near mint is a 9.2. It's actually near mint minus, and that is probably, and that's the highest grade given in the price guide. So let's look at this one. This has been so loved. This has been read a bunch of times. This has been lent out. I'm glad that it's returned to me, and that it didn't come back ripped or anything. You ever like, oh man, we got so many dings. Oh. Look at this cover. Ooh, it's a bit like... This is a little... Yeah. That is not pristine. We got lots of spine roll. Those are those cracks on the spine there, you know. Because, you know, Sully doesn't use boards because he's a moron. We got like some kind of stain there. Is that some kind of Coca-Cola? Maybe it's blood. Oh. But yeah. Whose side are you on? Written by Mark Miller, beautiful art by Steve McNiven, and it wasn't Dexter Vines, was it? Yeah, it was Dexter Vines. Dexter Vines is an inker. Works a lot with Ed McGuinness, but yeah, it's about, well, I got an idea. You know what we like to do on this show? We like to read from, you heard it, the wiki. That's right. Wiki. ATST, ATST. I'm a huge Red Letter Media fan. So when I say wiki, that's my Rich Evans reference. I love Rich and Mike and Jay and the whole team. And I love that show. That's my cuppa. That is my cuppa. And I'm there for that. One of my stations. One of my inspirations, too, is a YouTube creator. But if you're wondering why Sully's being so weird every time he says the word wiki in Wikipedia, wiki, ATST, it's the Rich Evans thing, man. I love you guys, seriously. And, all right, we're going to read from the wiki, published from July of 2006 to January of 2007, published by Marvel Comic Books. Excuse me. This was also kind of adapted into the MCU as well. Straight up ripped this off. Great stuff. Civil War is a 2006-2007 Marvel Comics crossover storyline consisting of a 7-issue limited series of the same name, written by Mark Miller and penciled by Steve McNiven, and various tie-in books. So, of course, there's a checklist page, and we're going to have this one and that one. We got a lot of amazing Spider-Man tied in, like Wolverine tied in, too. Oh, it's like, and it was being drawn by Humberto Ramos at the time. I don't think I have that issue, but it's one of these times where, like, Wolverine gets as much of his body mass destroyed as mutantly possible for him to regenerate from. It's after, like, a plane crashes, and so he's consumed in fiery jet fuel, and almost an adamantium skeleton walked from the fire, and then he just slowly burns, grows back, and it's the storyline builds upon events in previous Marvel storylines, particularly Avengers Disassembled, House of M, and Decimation. What is Decimation? Well, Avengers Disassembled was from 2004, and it was the beginning of Brian Michael Bendis' Avengers run, and it depicts the destruction of the existing traditional roster, and the Mansion too, I believe. House of M is a 2005 comic book storyline. It was an 8-issue limited series written by Brian Michael Bendis, and it was the whole, Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, no more mutants, Daddy. Snap, in a new reality. Something like, you know what a snap. Hey, we all know what the snap is. So it was kind of its own reality warping snap in a way too, and it made a parallel universe where they had to bring it back and restore the normal Marvel 616. And Decimation is a 2005 event spinning out of the House of M limited series, and the event started with a one-shot issue and took place in various series, all carrying the Decimation logo and trade dress on the cover. The plot begins when the U.S. government passes a superhero registration act. The ostensibly to have superpowered individuals act under official regulation, somewhat akin to law enforcement. Superheroes who oppose the act, led by Captain America, find themselves in conflict with its supporters, led by Iron Man. Spider-Man is caught in the middle, while the X-Men take a neutral stance. The superheroes who support the law, including Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, and Ms. Marvel, who avenged the first Ms. Marvel, the original Carol Danvers. She had just given up her Warbird identity and went back to being called Ms. Marvel, and this is right before she gets her promotion to Captain Marvel. So, there we go. The superheroes who support the law become increasingly authoritarian. I mean, this is like not just art. This isn't art imitating life. This is art predicting life, in a way. Yeah. Don't read Octavia Butler if you scare easy. The stuff she wrote in the 90s, it could have been. It's describing yesterday. In a way. I mean, in a crazy sci-fi way. Yeah. The parables, the two parable stories. That's the suggestion. They're not feel-goods. They're not fun, but they're necessary sci-fi. If you like sci-fi. Civil War explores the conflict between freedom and security against a backdrop of real-life events and discussions, such as the U.S. government's increased surveillance of its citizens. The series polarized critics and fans, but it was a commercial success. A sequel, Civil War II, debuted in June of 2016, also in June of 2016, the film Captain America: Civil War in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, loosely adapted the storyline. Yes, and kind of like in the Greek. Yeah. Begin it now. Oh, sing to me, O Muse, about Achilles' wrath, doomed and ruinous, that caused so many loss over loss. I'll just read it to you. Yeah. Invoke the Muse and just begin in medias res. Boom. Here, because it's all you need in a good hero story. Anger be now your song, immortal one. Achilles' anger, doomed and ruinous, that caused the Achaeans, the Greeks, loss on bitter loss and crowded brave souls into the undergloom, leaving so many dead, carrion for dogs and birds, and the will of Zeus was done. Begin it now, contending two men, Agamemnon and Achilles. You sack of wine, you cur! Ah, grumpy. I love this. But yeah, so it kind of starts like the Iliad. Remember, Mark Miller was, like, this is almost 20 years ago. We know what Mark Miller's doing today. This is how he made his bones. You know, he was just, you know, fresh from the Authority. He got brought over to Marvel. He's got a lot to say about working for DC, how he thought it would be a dream job, and it actually wasn't really. But yeah, see that, look at all that spine crack. I mean, I wonder what condition this would be in. It's actually pretty, you know, we got corners, we got spine roll, we've got little discolorations on here, and, well, let's look at the book one more time. Okay, we can look at the book as many times as we want to. I'm not going to judge you. The variant cover by Michael Turner is worth $50. Issue number 2 in Spider-Man Unmasks, that's worth $12 at a 9.2. So I'm thinking this could be a 6.0 or so, and this would be worth $6. So no, a 6.0 would be worth $9. You know, maybe. I don't know, Dr. Carter, if you're in the audience, I mean, he's probably just yelling at Price is Right style. 5.3. There is no 5.3. I'm making that up. No, I want to innovate. Oh, but yeah, begin the tale with the team of young superheroes on a reality show. And look at this. Here are some ads. We always love checking out the ads. The ads are the day into. Oh, here's the Indicia colophone right down here. Civil War #1, July of 2006. So that means it was released April. Yeah, and it comes off the shelf at the end of June. It hasn't sold yet. Yeah, that's the whole cover thing. So we have a superhero team. What are these? The New Warriors, and this is a reality show. And so they're going to foil the misdeeds of a nefarious superhero a supervillain they've been tracking named Nitro, and Nitro is he's the one that took out Captain Marvel for real. Yeah. Well, all the exposure to Nitro's, radiation and stuff saturated Marvel's cells to the point where, yeah, but they're fighting in a populated area and right next to a grammar school. And the unforeseen real thing, I guess, this intersection of kind of like real lifey stuff is mass horror at American school places and places that should be safe spaces where you send your children, and they become crime scenes with body counts. But if it's an interesting spin, like, what would happen, if this could happen. So this is a real thematic kind of it's just gone. This is the intersection of the real world. Well, it told an allegory, though. It's like superhero team accidentally, causes the death and destruction. Look at all of those black bags. Those are dead humans. Seriously, this is deep. This is really dark. And this is so well drawn, too. Oh, here's your Civil War checklist. See? Right here. These are all the issues that are crossing over. I've got a few of these. Not many of them, but I got the ones I think that mattered. Here's Tony Stark getting spit in the face. Do you remember this scene from Iron Man 3, was it? This scene is like pretty much reproduced, like, my kid got killed because of you and because of Iron Man. and Johnny Storm rather, different heroes Johnny Blaze. The Human Torch gets mugged, gets hurt by a human mob that's angry at superpowered people, and so all the heroes congregate, and they're like, "What do we do? What do we do?" Well, we have to register. We have to register our secret identities and our addresses with the U.S. government. We need to be card-carrying members authorized by, you know what I mean? And then Captain America is like, no, that's not about it. That's not, what we do. We have people to protect, So, this is a great scene where, like, S.H.I.E.L.D. gangs up on Captain America, who won't capitulate. He won't sign the form. No. This is a great scene where he just jumps out of the helicarrier and just like grabs a ride with an F-15, or is it an F-22? And this is great because the Watcher, Uatu, shows up, and that's never a good sign. And all I can think about, too, in hindsight is, like, who's the Skrull here? We know who the Skrulls are, pretty much. And here we go. And here it starts. The Civil War of Marvel Comics. Look at this Steranko. Jim Steranko did those legendary Marvel covers for Nick Fury with that spiral swirly thing. And it's been mimicked ever since. So here's Spider-Man, Peter Parker, caught in the middle. He's got this great friendship, genius to genius, genuine and authentic friendship with Tony Stark, who's like the reverse of Peter Parker. There's the Parker luck about being broke and about being struggling. And then there's Tony Stark, who's privileged and living in opulence. But, with unlimited resources. Peter has to make his own web fluid. And sew his own costumes and stuff, and this began the relationship that we see cloned in the MCU, that was between Tony Stark and Peter Parker, the young Peter Parker. I really actually adored the MCU's handling of that. I mean, the MCU it's literally its own world. I think we really pick and choose what to complain about when it comes to MCU stuff. But, yeah. My name is Peter Parker, and I've been Spider-Man since I was 15 years old. And, look, J. Jonah Jameson falls out of his chair. Ain't that cute? And, this starts a whole huge, bad thing for Spider-Man. Because by the end of this, he's got to choose a side, and we're gonna leave it there because we're gonna get more into Civil War on Monday, because tomorrow is new release day. We'll be going over all the new releases we got this week. Tune in tomorrow. Tune in every day, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern. Be part of the live chat. Leave a comment in the comment section. Continue this comic book shop style conversation. 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern daily. Smash that like button and subscribe. I would love to earn your subscription. And thank you so very much for tuning in today. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. And we will see you again tomorrow in those funny pages. Ciao. Bye-bye. And thank you for coming to the Comics Coffee Table. Grab a cuppa, whatever it is you're shoving under your nose here, pal. From our Boston studios to you at home or on the go. Cheers. Sláinte.